People do not misunderstand divination. They have forgotten they have access to an oracle, especially for those of us in the diaspora. We have been so far removed from ancient ways of being, of ancient ways of knowing, so far removed from traditions that taught us how to listen, how to trust spirit, how to recognize that life is speaking, how to recognize that we are not just living random experiences. We are a part of a collective of something much greater than us. And so we have been taught to believe that everything must be logical, that everything must be explained before it can be real, before it can be accepted. And because of that, we forget. And what I've found is that we forget that we are connected to something greater. We forget that there are tools that the ancient ones left us. They left these behind for us to remember. Bone divination is one of them. And because of that, when people come for divination, they are often blown away. Not because they thought it was entertainment. They come with more reverence than that. They just didn't understand how much information is stored in their bones, right? Their childhood, their relationships, their grief, their patterns, their calling, things from the womb, things that were from before they even were born. These things carried through lineage, generations. Their spirit has been trying for years to say. And so divination, it interrupts everything that most people thought was possible, because it reminds us, it reminds those people that you're not disconnected. And the way I usually explain this to my students when they're learning divination is very simple, is that a reading tells you what is, right? And a divination tells you what must be done. A reading explains the situation and it reveals the what, essentially, and what is happening, what is present in the moment, what is showing itself in the now. And divination goes further. It gives you the full scope. It reveals the what, it reveals the why and the how, and most importantly, it reveals the way forward. It reveals how to heal, how to restore balance, how to recalibrate, how to recenter, how to move differently. So for me, a reading is just only one layer of what a divination can reveal. And some people only want to be read. They only want the information. And there is nothing wrong with that, because that may be what their spirit needs. But when people come to me for divination, I have to explain to them that I'm not just giving you information. It's so much more than that. You are responsible for what the oracle has revealed. And I don't think that that's something that most people understand. You are responsible for what this portal of wisdom placed back into your hands, right? And what I understand is that there's responsibility, right? Responsibility requires action. And this is where a lot of people struggle, because we have become spiritually passive, honestly. And we want confirmation without the commitment. We want clarity without discipline. We want revelation without the ritual. But divination does not work like that. Faith without works is dead. That's what my grandmother taught me. And the oracles can show you the road, but you still have to walk. You have to be willing to walk it. And that is the difference. So divination is not entertainment. And I'm grateful that most people that come understand that. It's participation. It's developing relationship. It is a responsibility. And it's not just something to know. It is something to do, be, so that you can have. And that is where the transformation begins. People usually come for divination when life becomes too much to hold, honestly, when the body no longer knows what to do with what it's carrying, when the mind is overwhelmed and they need support, when the spirit is not settled. It becomes disoriented. And when the spirit becomes disoriented, it seeks to be recalibrated. That's what it needs to reorient itself to find balance, and not just mentally, it's not even just emotionally, it's on a soul and cellular level, because the spirit understands what the mind cannot always accept, explain, or understand. And sometimes people come maybe because of relationships, their heart may be heavy, something might feel off, they cannot tell if they need to stay, leave, forgive, release, or finally just simply tell their truth, right? And so what I find is sometimes they may even come because they need direction for purpose. They might be called and not have language for where they're being called to. They feel a shift before they can even explain it. And sometimes that feels like grief. It shows up as endings, as loss, as transition, seasons closing and not knowing what may come next, right? They may need understanding on their business. Should I open this? Should I let this go? Is this delay protection? Is it fear? Imposter syndrome, an ancestral imprint. The soul is being called somewhere that the mind does not yet understand. And there is movement happening in the spirit before it exists in reality. And that creates the disorientation that people often are feeling that is dysregulating them. And that is when people come, because spirit is always seeking a mirror, a place where it can be shown what is, a place where it can understand what is affecting me, what is out of alignment, what is being asked of me right now, what season am I truly in. So divination is not just about answers. That's one layer. It's about reorientation so that it helps you find your North Star. It helps you understand divine timing, patterns, cycles, endings, what needs to close, what needs to be fed, what needs to be released, right? What needs your devotion in this season. That is when people say, I'm ready for the bones. That is when they come forward. And it's not because they are curious. This is way beyond curiosity. It's because their spirit is ready. Because life has brought you to a threshold, and you have to honor that. It's something that is deeper, that is asking to be heard. And that is the difference, and that is what I've found most people usually feel or experiencing when they find me, when I'm brought in their life. And when the divination is complete, when the transmission closes, when the portal begins to close, when the bones have spoken, when the spirits that came forward return to where they came from, there is one thing that I want people to leave understanding. I really want them to know the magnitude of what just happened. I need you to understand this, because divination is not casual. It's not a small thing that is happening. It is not ordinary, while it is, right? For the oracle to speak, for the ancestors to gather, for spirits to come forward, for God to witness and allow, for all these things to unfold, for wisdom to travel across generations and arrive in one room, in one moment, for one person. You need to understand that that is sacred, that is miraculous, that is you. You are the miracle. And many people come into divination not realizing how held they are, not realizing how loved they are, not realizing what has to happen for spirit to gather in their name. And the ancestors come from light years away. Ancient ones stand witness when this portal is open. Wisdom that has survived bloodlines comes forward because it's ready. Why? Because you matter. Because your life matters, dear one. Because your alignment matters. Because your healing matters. Because your becoming matters. I want people to leave knowing you are not just asking for an answer. You are calling the answer, because you are the answer. So as much as you are praying for clarity, it's important for you to understand that your ancestors are praying for you to remember who you are. That is what divination offers. That is what divination reveals. And I'm grateful to be a vessel for this. It's not just information. It's so much more than that. It's not only words coming forth, it's belonging. It's not just a diagnosis, it's remembering, it's the devotion. The bones are not just telling you what is wrong. They're there to remind you of whose you are, of your why. That is sometimes very hard to accept, that remembrance is what allows all these things to unfold. And that is why, in my opinion, people need bone divination to honor the truth. It's way beyond just needing to feel good. It's for restoration. It's for your return. It's for divine revelation. And that is the work. That is